Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Toastmasters for Professionals. At this club, we are focused about your learnings that you can implement in your professional life, whether it is to improve your visibility, or whether it is for preparation for the interview, or whether it is how you prepare your resume. You learn in the course of the meeting, but now is to learn how Toastmasters helps in professional learning. Before we delve into the details, let me introduce the role plays for today. A couple of role plays today. We have an account of Toastmaster Vamshi, and we have a person who is preparing for the interview, that is Saishri, and her interview will be Toastmaster Ashvin. We are supposed to have a grammarian today. I don't see her, but we have a table topic master, Catherine. And Ashwin, can you also do the timing?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful, thank you. I'll time when you're interviewing. And then if you don't have grammarian, we'll just go ahead with the next part of meeting. So we have a prepared speech that by our friend Ravi, who is going to talk on how Toastmaster has impacted his life and how he has gone to become winner at evaluation and international speech contest at District 101, and how that has enhanced his professional life. And then an interview, practical interview where Saishri will be appearing, and then we will have an evaluation by our two evaluators, Toastmaster Pamela, who will be evaluating Ravi's speech, and Toastmaster Mary, who will be evaluating the interview. With that note, starting with how Toastmaster actually helps you. You have heard about few roles in Toastmasters, right? Starting from the Toastmaster till evaluation set. What I've learned over the past few years that I've been a Toastmaster is that every set or everything that you are seeing, listening is a learning. So the word of the day that you hear or the idiom of the day that certain clubs use, you might not be using today. But at some part of life, you start using that because that is fed into your subconscious mind. That was my experience. At this point of time, I may not be comfortable using it, but I'll start using it at some point of life. As the role player for Toastmaster, the MOC of any club meeting, you learn how to organize things, how to be on stage, taking the stage time and introducing things, planning things ahead, and taking the introductions of people as necessary, and then being prepared for those moments where you have to be critical or maybe you need to go prepared. For example, this preparation has helped me in a lot of places. For example, as a Scrum Master, I was able to implement these things, planning ahead. For example, we do planning for every PI, which is about 3 to 4 months. That planning stage, or when I go and talk to different members well before our Scrum meeting, or rather when we talk in our functions, like I had to take a lead as an event manager in a couple of functions, and this role has helped me there. Now, when you go as an accountant, or rather grammarian role, this helps, is a win-win situation for everyone here. You learn how to improve your language, listening to those impediments that are already there, whether it is the grammatical mistakes or whether it is that you're making the impediments using the R's and Ums, how you can improve them, where you have to exactly improve is what you get as a suggestion from your accountant and grammarian. And what do they get is active listening skills. Now, Toastmasters and pathways, including they offer you about 300 plus competencies. Out of them, 5 are core competencies and 2 is what you are learning as part of this meeting processes. I'll stop here and then move to the next step. That is our prepared space. Do we have Ravi? Ravi, are we good to start? Before I call in Ravi.
Toastmaster Raghu, may I just say something?
Sure, Mary.
Toastmaster Raghu, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Diana will take grammarian. She's put it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, sure, Diana. Okay. Before I invite Ravi, can I invite Pamela to give speech objectives for Ravi? You're talking on mute.
Yes, thank you. As evaluator for Ravi's speech, I will be looking for, in his question answer session, a well-organized speech about whatever his topic is and facilitated by a question and answer. The purpose of his project is for Ravi to learn about and practice facilitating a question and answer session. And the purpose of the speech is for him to practice delivering an informative speech and running a well-organized question and answer session. I'll turn it back to you, Raghu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pamela. Now, talking about prepared speeches, I had this question in one of the sessions that I was giving at my home club. Somebody asked me, why do I need to prepare speeches and give? It's more like I'm just going prepared and that's useless. I need to be more impromptu. So we did a practical session there. Practical session was to give him a topic and ask him to talk on it. It was just about his life. I told him, I give you 1 minute. Tell me about your life in short. An icebreaker. He took about 1 minute, 40 seconds, but he couldn't cover even 30% of what he wanted to convey. I told him, don't need to write anything. You just write, don't need to write a big speech. Just write the outline of your speech. The pointers that you want to cover in your speech. 10 points he wrote. And how much time you took? Just 50 seconds to cover the same thing. And he was able to complete his speech there. So I told that is the power of preparation. Why do you need to do prepared speeches? Is for that thing. This preparation helps you. Impromptu is good because life is not a prepared speech. But then for that, you need a preparation. Anything and everything is a prepared speech. But we'll talk more detail. But for now, we have a wonderful speech by Toastmaster Ravi. Timer, please note it's 10 to 15 minutes. Toastmaster Ravi, my Toastmaster journey. My Toastmaster journey, Toastmaster Ravi.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Can you guys hear me okay? Good. Growing up, I have these 2 uncles who used to bully me around. They used to ask me these tricky questions with simple answers. They used to ask me, Ravi, are you still smoking or have you stopped smoking? No matter what the answer is, if it is yes or no, I'm still going to be in trouble. These questions made me realize that I should never get into arguments with those lawyers. And this also made me realize that I should not pick up a job which involves a lot of communication. And hence I picked up engineering, assuming it doesn't require communication. Oh my God, I am utterly wrong. Today, I would like to share about a couple of things, basically 3 things. First, I will be talking about the misconceptions that I learned about communication. 2, I'll be talking about the importance of communication. And 3, I'll talk about how it helped me. First, the misconception of communication. Now, whenever in my life, there are very few people who would agree that have less communication skills. We all think we can speak well. And if you think about it, there is a good logical reason behind this. You know, one of the first skills as a human that we develop is speaking. Yeah, we know how to speak even before we know how to use the bathroom. And if you have been using this skill for 30, 25, 30 years, and if you tell them somebody you can't speak well, how would he take it? Right? That is one thing. We all assume that we are good communicators just because we have been talking since we are born. Two, the problem with this analogy is if you have been talking something long and doing the wrong thing again and again, it takes a lifetime to correct it. There are so many people, for example, I used to think using filler words is a smart thing in your speech. I used to deliberately introduce filler words. It is so wrong. So these are the two things that I want to talk about. What is the misconception? And if you think about this, the importance. Now, talking about the importance of communication. Now, I like superhero movies, and one of my superheroes is Spider-Man. I always thought it's so funny and amazing to be a Spider-Man. But if you think about it, it's so stressful and tiredness to, hang around the ropes, flying in traffic. That's the worst thing. And there is one more superhero that I like. No, he's not a superhero, he's a super villain. This is a TV show in which the villain can make others do anything he wanted to do. You just say, go and jump, and that character will go and jump. If you think about it, this superhero of convincing people, asking them to do whatever you want them to do, is a real superpower. And this superpower, we all can implement, we all can learn. And no matter how hard you try, you can't become Superman or Spider-Man. But you can be a good communicator, influencing others to jump off the floor if you want to. The second point that I want to talk about, the importance of communication, is anybody can be a leader. Any politician, you can be a politician. Even if you are corrupt, even though if you have a murder, even though if you go to prison, you can still be a politician. You can compete in elections. Do you know the one disqualification? One qualification that is a must for any leader, or in fact, if you want to participate in an election, is you should be able to speak. Deaf and dumb people are actually can't be participating in election. So of course, it makes a lot of sense because that is a core of leadership. Now, the two things that I spoke about, the misconceptions, how do we assume that we can all speak because we have been speaking for years? And the side effect of that is, if we are doing the same thing wrong for 30 years, it's really hard to correct. This is the reason why it's not easy to be a good communicator. The second point is the importance of communication. The third point that I'll talk here is how it helped me. Now, Einstein once said, if you can't articulate something in a simpler words, probably you don't understand. Research data is actually showing the same thing. Speech processing in the brain is same as the problem solving part of the brain. The parts of the brain that you use to solve a problem are same as when you're talking somebody, when you're articulating. This is known by many people, and I want to tell you a story of my boss in an interview. Okay. He has this favorite question that he asks everybody. He tells, explain a resistor to my grandmother. I mean, why do you want to explain resistors to your grandmother? First of all, she doesn't need to know. But the thing he's trying to get at is, he wants to see my thinking skills. And it's really hard to assess anybody's thinking skills, right? So he'll ask me about the articulation skills. The parts of the brain that are used for thinking are same for articulation. This is how it helps. And I have been a Toastmaster for 7 years. And no matter how, I still can't find the limit of communication. It's like the more I learn about communication, the more I know that I don't know about communication. For example, in my personal life, me and my wife used to get into fights pretty often. But now I'm proud to tell that it's been almost 1 year that we fought even on a small thing. I mean, this itself is a great advantage if we talk about Toastmasters and communication skills. Once you learn how to communicate, there are so many avenues we can explore. Making a joke, going into debate, influencing people, storytelling, all these things actually helped me in different parts of my life. For example, I'm part of actually 5 clubs. My core club is M Speech, where I started. Then once I finished certain modules from my M Speech, I went into debate. Now I have been a president for my debate club for 3 years, and I keep debating every week. Then when I thought I learned enough about debate, I'm still part of the club. I went into multimedia, where I learned how to make videos, how to talk about them and stuff. Now today, I started my own YouTube channel and I do my own videos. All these things have actually helped me in becoming a better communicator. Talking about job. Now, when I was, like 8 years ago, people used to interrupt me whenever I start speaking. They don't even let me complete. But now I have this feeling when I start talking, people will just listen. And one of the things that changed my mindset on this is, previously, when people used to interrupt me, I used to think that they are rude people, point one. And I also used to think they have less patience. And why are they not letting me communicate? Why are they not letting me complete my idea? And I am sure all these things happen to everybody in the audience, many people. Does anybody have those issues? Like when you start talking, people wouldn't even let you finish. You have those? Does anybody has those ideas? Have you seen those problems? Right? I used to blame the audience. I used to say, that guy is a bad guy. He's a bad listener. But later on, I realized that art of communication is not what you say. It doesn't matter what you say. How you say matter a lot. It is our job as a communicator to make sure the data is so simply organized that the audience can consume it without even stressing out. These things have helped me. Now, the basic thing when you become a Toastmaster and you work on communication is getting a promotion. I think many of us easily get that. But I think from Toastmasters, I have achieved more than communication. Toastmasters for me is like a lab, lab for life. All the ideas that I have, the crazy ideas, I experiment as speeches in the Toastmasters Club and I get feedback and I tune them. Now, I would like to open up the stage for questions, but in summary, I spoke about 4 things. I spoke about, how we have these misconceptions of communication and we all think that we are good communicators just because we have been speaking for years. 2, I spoke about the importance of communication, how leaders can't be politicians or you can't participate in an election if you can't talk. Now, I spoke about how thinking and communicating happens in the same parts of the brain, because of which both are important. If you can't articulate something well, you can't think something well. Then I spoke about my story, how I'm part of 4 or 5 clubs, and which I take advantage of each one of them. Now, in conclusion, I really think communication is extremely important, and I hopefully will be a lifelong Toastmasters. For me, Toastmasters is like a gym where I go every day and sharpen my brain, not just my tongue. Thank you. Now, I would like to open the stage for questions. Raghu?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sure, Ravi. Anybody has any question for Ravi?
Yes.
Diana, if you have, you can just type.
Yep.
Do you have a question?
Anybody else has any questions?
You can unmute
Diana is
yourself and
typing.
ask the question.
I know I see here 18 people, and you can tell or ask, is communication relevant for certain field, certain profession? Or Toastmasters, how can it help? So Raghu, can you read the question, please? If you see it.
I don't see anything. Mostly,
Okay.
probably it is a personal question, but
Yeah.
that's under private chat, I guess.
Let me check.
Anybody?
Actually, she's raising her hand, Diana.
She is, but she's also typing him in private chat.
Diana can type better. That's the. Yes,
Pamela.
Pamela.
Yes, I have a question, Raji. You mentioned grandmother briefly in your speech as a good example and gave me a vision of what a grandmother understands and how grandmother responds. Can you give me something about how it was with your grandmother and what you learned from communication?
Yes. And the point I was trying to make in the story is we should be able to articulate any sort of information to any sort of audience. A register is a technical subject, and explaining that to my grandmother is really hard. So this is how I explain to my grandmother. A resistance, I said, when I slide this pen on this table, it would not go forever, right? It would go someplace and stop. But ideally, it should go forever. It is only stopping because of the resistance. This is how I explain to my grandmother, explanation of a pen resistance. If I throw this pen, it would stop before hitting the wall. And the reason why it would stop before hitting the wall is because it has resistance with the table. This is one example of explaining how I explain it to my grandmother. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi, for a wonderful speech and also your question and answer session, answering the questions that you got. Can we have a big round of applause for Ravi? Thank you for taking time for this speech. Funny that when I started my journey as a guest in our corporate club, in the first meeting, when I was listening to one of the speeches, that I somehow felt that I can speak better than the speaker on the stage. I'm a great speaker, and that's what blah 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 things that I can speak on that, on speaker on this blah. And when my mentor asked me to start working on an icebreaker, literally it was 6 times I had to rewrite my speech. And when it was the time that I have to come and do a demo before him and his mentees, it was about 3 to 4 people just in the room. It's not even the club meeting. I started shivering, and somehow it took me a lot of courage to speak on that day. Even on my icebreaker day, when I had to give my icebreaker, I really wanted to escape from that moment and just run away. Never wanted to go into the meeting room to giving my icebreaker. Even while giving the speech, I was shivering, but I somehow managed it. But that courage and that persistence to prepare my speech 6 times has given me the courage enough to go ahead and move ahead in my speeches or the journey of public speaking. I had an issue in my professional life. One thing is I used to react, not respond. I still remember the days when I used to read half of the email and then start responding. Start sending mails. Sometimes it used to result in fights. Sometimes it used to go into a different way. But when I take time and I used to come back to the second half, it really meant different from what I assumed it to be. Other was that I had a disconnect that I had in my mind, the way that I wanted to communicate something or how I communicated. There was a disconnect there. A third thing that I faced a challenge where I was discriminated on that basis was I used to stutter a lot. And this caused a lot of issues. Now, when I started listening more in Toastmasters in various roles, doing the active listening project, or maybe playing the roles where I had to listen very carefully. When I started preparing my speeches, doing different projects, mingling with people, trying to understand cultures, or when I went across 143 countries, trying to talk to people from different cultures and different nations, it changed everything for me. I have not only overcome my stuttering problem, I'm able to communicate better. This is helping me in both professional and personal life. And as Ravi told, now I and my wife, we don't fight. We just have table topics. It's a different thing that she gets a lot of time for her table topic and I get lesser time. That's okay. It is a table topic, not a fight anymore. With that note, we do something that is, what to say, niche for this club, that is practicing interviews. We have today Toastmaster Saishri, who is attempting her prepare for an interview project from Pathways. And her interview is none other than our dear friend Toastmaster Ashvin. Will be evaluated by Mary. Mary, can you give the speech objectives, the project objectives before we move into that?
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Saishri.
Mary, you are on mute.
Toastmaster Saishri is doing the speech, delivering a speech on preparing for an interview. The purpose of the speech is for the member to practice the skills needed to present himself or herself well in an interview. And the rest of it is for the evaluator. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
The timing will be 3 to 5 minutes, and I'll show green at 3 and amber at yellow. Amber at 4 and then red at 5. Okay, good to start. Ashwin and Saishri.
Saishri, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. How are you doing today? Good morning, sir. I'm doing good.
Excellent, excellent. Now, just to be clear, you're applying for the school coordinator position, is that correct?
I'm
Excellent.
applying for school coordinator.
Excellent. And I'll be asking a series of questions. Now, these questions there's no right or wrong answer. It's just to evaluate how you answer them. And so just relax and do the best you can, okay? All right. So the first question is, tell me about yourself.
I'm postgraduate in science. I have done MA. If you see my resume, you will come to know with a wide experience in teaching, learning, as well as in handling the situation. Overall, I am having 6-year experience in teaching, 2 years as a school coordinator, and 1 year as a subject in charge. Teaching is my passion. Other than teaching, I love to do art and craft, gardening, and I'm very well trained in Vedic maths too.
You said teaching is your passion. What do you like about teaching?
Every day, every time when we meet a people or the students, we have to tackle them with a different way. In the every individuals are different, so it is giving me immense opportunity to learn from them and to train them. Every day, new challenge.
Okay, thank you. Now, as a school coordinator, you will be dealing with conflict and difficult situations. Tell me about a time when you completed a difficult task under pressure.
There was a time when I was working as a school coordinator in one of the school of Bangalore. I am from Chhattisgarh, so my mother tongue is a Telugu, but I brought up in a Chhattisgarhi culture. And there people were from the Karnataka speaking candidates were there. That time I have to deal them with a new language, and with the help of my teacher, my fellow teachers, and even my immediate manager, they supported me and helped me to tackle that all the new members with the new languages. They have trained me, I learned that, and I was able to make bond with them. And finally, after 6 months, I was able to communicate with them and understand their issues and problems. Because the people, those who were there in the parents, they were not well versed either in Hindi, Telugu, or English. They were only speaking Kannada.
Excellent. Thank you for that answer. Now I'm looking at your resume and it says you're an acting CLO and a facilitator. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, it is of the Little Millennium. It's a preschool where I joined in 2012 as a acting learning head, actually learning officer, chief learning officer in there. Major task during that period was to manage the school, handle the day-by-day queries, the parent counseling, students counseling, and organize activities, special activities, like if it is the Independence Day activity, what are the various work we have to do, what are the activities we have to plan. And this school is especially, it's a preschool, so the age group was less than 9 years. So that was a different criteria of handling them.
Okay. Thank you, Saishri, for the answer. And one question I want to ask you is, what is your strength?
My strength that I am a learner and I am always open to learn new things as per the situation. If situation demands, I have to be very strict. If it is asking that I have to be very friendly with my colleagues, I have to be like that. That means overall, if you ask that, yes, I can fit myself in any situation.
Thank you. One more question. What do you like to do for fun?
I think
It's not
I do
teaching. You love
gardening.
teaching.
Yes. It's a teaching is there, but
Yeah.
yes, you told the fun.
Yeah.
Even in a class also, many times I teach a student with the singing.
Yeah.
So that is my very funful moment. I just observe the student. I try to read them and quickly change my strategy,
Excellent, excellent.
make them fun.
Thank you, Saishri. And Laska, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any question. Yeah, definitely in future, if I get any question, I will ask you.
Excellent. Thank you for your time, and we'll get back to you. Thank you, Saishri.
Thank you so much. Ashwin.
Thank you very much for attempting that interview, and thank Ashwin for the time. Can you have a big round of applause for Saishri? Ashwin? Now, trying to understand, let me. Something that helped me more in Toastmaster is that feedback that you get, the evaluation. While in every part of life, people just judge you, right? You cannot do that well, you cannot do this. And I still remember a day when my boss made me sit from morning 10 till evening 4:30 p.m. just editing one email. And I was so frustrated. If he was before me, I would have blasted on him. The thing is, when everyone else judges you in Toastmasters, we don't judge you. We tell you where exactly and how exactly you can improve yourself. Coming to communication. For example, a speech that has happened. Somebody has given a speech, somebody has attempted a project, somebody has attempted an interview. Right now, Saishri has attempted an interview. It's time to know how they have done, what are the improvement areas, and how could they all improve. Ravi has given a speech, and today we have his evaluator, Toastmaster Pamela, who will evaluate and give feedback. As they say, food for thought is the feedback. But before all this, there's something that we need to go ahead with is our impromptu speech practice. As I keep saying, standing on feet and talking on feet is something that we need to learn because life is not a prepared speech. For that, we have table topic session where you are asked a question on the spot and you need to answer. This prepares you for all the moment, except the talks with your spouses, of course. That is a different course. That is not taught in Toastmasters. But I will let it be with our table topic master, Toastmaster Catherine. Take the session forward, and then we'll come back and discuss more on Toastmasters. Catherine, it's up to you.
Thank you so much, TM Raju. How much time do I have?
You can take about 3 topics.
Thank you. I will let you Toastmaster and guests know that table topics is very simple, just like TM Raju has explained to us. It is you are given a question, take about a few seconds to think about it, and then respond. In order for us to understand what this sounds like, I'm going to ask 2 volunteer Toastmasters to take on at least 1 question, and then I'll ask guests to respond. My first question is this. Please listen carefully. Inspired by one of the movies that stars a notable or notorious actor, Will Smith, you have arrived late for your interview, but the team allows you to get in and give your shot at presenting yourself. In 2 minutes, give them a reason to listen to you and why they must add you to the short list of best candidates for the job. You have arrived late for your interview, but the team allows you to get in and give your shot at presenting yourself. In 2 minutes, give them a reason to listen and why they must add you to their best candidates list for the job. May I kindly ask Toastmaster Mary Thomas to take this shot. Thank you.
I truly have to apologize because I got a patient online who had some health issues, and I'm so sorry I couldn't hear your topic. Either you can repeat, I can do it, or I'm so sorry because my patient is.
Okay,
is not
can I just read it out loud one more time?
Yes, yes, please. Yeah.
You have arrived late
Appreciate
for the interview, but the team allows you to get in and give your shot at presenting yourself. In 2 minutes, give them a reason to listen to you and why they must add you to the list of best candidates for the job.
Thank you, Table Topic Master. My job that I'm applying for is that of a medical consultant in a reputable hospital. And just like just now, when Table Topic Master, you gave me a topic, my patient came first. So dear panel interviewers, my patient always comes first. I apologize for the delay. I apologize for keeping you waiting, but my patient always comes first. And being an internal medicine specialist, I always get patients, as you would know, doctors, respected doctors, you would know we have the highest number of patients at any given time, whether in an emergency, whether in an accident, or whether in the ward. So therefore, for me, I would like to be considered for this part of my delay, because for me, you can be assured your patients will come first. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mary Thomas. And now I will ask a guest to volunteer to take on a very simple question. Can I confirm if in the room, John Sambawombe, are you on the call? John Sambawombe? Would you take this topic?
Master. Yes, I'm happy to take the topic about topic master. Can you hear me?
I beg your pardon?
Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes. Please take this
Yeah.
question. Yes, I can hear you. Okay. You can do the job in reference for remote working or physical presence. What will your first 100 days look like? You can do the job, remote working or physical presence. What will your first 100 days look like? John Sambawombe.
Thank you very much, Table Topic Master, for that interesting topic. After the pandemic and during the COVID pandemic, we've seen a paradigm shift in the way we do our work. We've seen employees working remotely, and we've seen other employees working from their comfort of their living rooms, their comfort of their bedrooms. However, having taken this job, my first 100 days will be a hybrid style of working. The first 50 days, I'll work from home, but before I do any tasks, rather before I carry out any tasks, I'll sit with my line manager, discuss the goals, the expectations, and what the vision for the company is. Then from there, I'll start executing. I'll ensure that I am introduced to all the clients in the market. I would start the competition on how they are doing to see all the gaps that we can improve in terms of products, as well as services. 50 days down the line. Then the next 50 days, it will be execution throughout. Execution is the foundational key to success, says Picasso. Who execute and you make sure that I bring everyone on board, because everyone in the organization is important, starting from the cleaner up to the top there. We need their skills. Thank you. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, John Sawamba-Wombe. My next question, which is the last question, I would like to kindly ask Toastmaster Lydia Norman. Are you there? Lydia Norman, can
Yes.
you take this question kindly?
Okay.
Thank you. How would you respond to this question? What will this company pay you that motivates you to work? What is your value in this company? Lydia Norman.
Yeah, then you can also give a topic to Diana over chat.
Yes. My value to the company is determined on many things. Salary is one of those. For me, however, what is more important to me is that the company pays me an amount that is appropriate for my skills and my abilities and the value that I can bring to the company. For what I look at is if the amount that I am going to be getting for remuneration is appropriate for me to meet my daily needs, then that was going to be appropriate for me, because I'm not one that is really motivated by money. But as long as I get something that I feel that is appropriate for me, then I would be happy to accept that amount. Thank you. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Lydia Norman. TM Raju, do I have any more time for one more question?
No, today we don't have time for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Toastmaster Raghu.
Thank you very much, Catherine. These questions help you to prepare for those critical moments. Maybe when your boss asks you a question, or maybe when you need to answer someone on the street, like a customer that you're talking to, or maybe your children that they put you on spot asking difficult questions. Sometimes this 1 to 2 minutes make a lot of difference. You can either screw yourself, or either you can make your position in whatever situation that you can do. So these things that it might look trivial, but if you prepare well, you can do it. As Ravi has mentioned it, if you take membership in gym and sit at home and think you can make abs, doesn't happen. It can happen only by a regular practice, joining Toastmaster meeting and then practicing it regularly. The Toastmaster membership fee is very trivial compared to other communication courses across the world. But this Toastmaster can help you only when you keep joining a meeting, keep practicing, taking, whether doing speeches or taking roles, and then putting yourself on spot when necessary by taking table topics. Is only the mantra for the success. With that note, let us see what our evaluators have for our speaker and also the Saishri, who has attempted her interview project. Toastmaster Pamela, can you please evaluate Toastmaster Ravi's speech today?
Thank you. It's my pleasure to hear you speak today, Ravi. I learned so much about communication that I had never heard about at all. You had a great opening. You got our attention. You expressed how growing up, seeing other people and hearing arguments really helped to give you insight into the importance of communication and the results of different ways of people express. I like that. I'd like you to end maybe accentuating that at the end of your speech as well. Now, how can you sum up how communication, hearing people speak, really gave you an opportunity to be a better speaker? I liked your good example of your communication styles, from your superheroes of Spider-Man and the villain. I thought that was really good because it gave a little color and a little humor to the insight of what you were talking about. I loved the examples that you gave of politicians and how the good speakers that you noticed that you appreciated the most were people that would encourage and not just tell people what to do. That came across as a really nice attribute of good communication style. Also, when you brought in about your grandmother, and that's why I asked you in the question and answer to talk more about that. And I thought I loved your answer. You took the time, and I would use some of that more in your talk to appreciate being able to express things that others have not a clue, because I saw that you really changed it, your style and your mode and the way you communicated it. Look, I could hear that you were really trying to listen to the other person when you spoke. That was a great, and I'd like to hear more about those kind of things as examples. Also, I appreciated the fact that you really had so many things to talk about. I would, however, like to hear maybe narrowing it down to maybe one or two examples so that it would give opportunity for the audience to really think about things more deeply, instead of I felt like I had to run on to the next thought and the next thought, and I didn't feel like I had enough time to contemplate all the great examples that you did. And maybe I would suggest that to challenge yourself, give a personal example of a time where communication was really difficult for you and you overcame and became successful in that experience. Great speech, great topic. I also would like to have spent more time with questions and answers, and the way I think that would have encouraged people to ask more questions is during your speech, when you would say, well, can you give that some thought? So some people at the end, when the questions came, would really remember what they really was important to them to want to be answered. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back to you, Toastmaster Raghu.
Thank you very much, Pamela. Now it's time to see how the interview assignment has gone. Let me invite Toastmaster Mary, who is evaluating Saishri's project.
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day, and very good day to my interviewee. The first thing I would say, I'm a bit surprised. I thought the speech is supposed to be 5 to 7 minutes, as stated on the evaluation form, but I think it was just 3 to 4 minutes. But notwithstanding that, the position that you had applied for, it was that of a school coordinator. It's a good position, and it's something that's very concrete. A school coordinator is a concrete position, short of being a school principal. when you talk about interviews, I've done hundreds of them in my work, and I still do them when I interview my patients. So the first thing I always look at is the demeanor of the person. For example, how do you look? How do you present yourself? How do you even walk in? Even now, when a patient walks in, I know I know what I'm in for. So likewise, your disposition would actually state whether the interviewer already puts into his mind whether I would want to take this candidate or not. And I've actually done that in my career, in my corporate career. Therefore, in terms of a school coordinator, your disposition was perfect. I would think that you're coming in for a school principal's position. Therefore, that part of it is okay. Your poise was just that of a school coordinator or even a school principal. I keep seeing a school principal. And I think in India, this attire where you're wearing a sari blouse that is covered with the sari pleated like that, wow, it's already green, would be a perfect thing for this position. And the way the questions were answered were also, I would put it at all right. I would want to hear, okay, now I'm just going to go into the recommendations. I would want to hear more concrete answers to questions that the interviewer had put in, which were very good questions. Please tell me about yourself. When you talk about yourself, it's about yourself. You haven't reached the stage where you straight away go into, I'm good in school, I'm this and I'm that. This is the later part of the interview. The other one is, according to headhunters, when an interviewer asks a question, never tell them as you've seen it in the resume. That's not the answer. And we're not supposed to say that. That's headhunters. My brother was a headhunter, so I know how it works. And then you said teaching is your passion. That's very good. When it came to conflict and problems, give more concise answers. The answers were a bit too long. Acting CLO, I like all the questions. The interviewer's questions were very good. What's your strength? What do you like to do for fun? I think you got caught over there. I didn't think that maybe, you were not sure whether a school coordinator would have fun, so to speak. I'm not sure of the age group of the children that you are going to coordinate and which school, but if they are young, very young children, like grade 1, 2, 3, I think they're going to get quite scared. And nowadays in education, we're supposed to try to be more empathetic, a bit more inclusive, and bringing children to you with love, care, kindness, understanding and compassion. So that disposition must be there where a child feels comfortable to come and talk to you because you're a school coordinator. And yeah, another thing for interview, when the interviewer asks you, do you have any questions? The answer should not be, no, I don't have any more questions. You are supposed to ask questions to the interviewer. Again, it's my headhunting brother who told me all these things. The last question I have is for the interviewer. Will you employ her? Right? At the end of the day, the interviewer makes a decision whether to either employ or to step up and support the interviewer. Or would you want to reserve your comments? Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Oh, was that for me,
Toastmaster.
Mary? I'm sorry. I don't know if you're quite, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, it was for you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, I think your video kind of like stopped and so sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm having internet. Let me just stop on my incoming video. Okay. Yeah, if you were the real interviewer, would you employ her? And that would be your acid test.
Oh, that'll be a good one. Now you had very good questions, and now some of them were answered, and some of them were not answered. As a school coordinator, you're right about have to be empathetic, and that question I threw out at the end about having fun puts a different side of you in there. So if she practices more, then yes, I would employ her. This is
Thank
being
you.
recorded.
Thank you, interviewer.
Yeah, oh man.
Okay, that's a diplomatic
Yeah.
answer. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you for that
Thank you,
wonderful
Toastmaster
evaluation
of the day.
feedback.
Yeah.
I hope Saishri got all the feedback that she needs for reattempting or maybe putting this into real life interview. So that is all about Toastmaster for a professional, Saishri. Yeah, can I reserve it for the feedback in the end, Saishri? Is that fine?
Okay.
Now, if you are seeing the role players so far, we are yet to get to the meeting evaluation. So now we have meeting evaluation, but timer, Ashvin. Ashvin, can you please give the timing? The time for the interview is 4 minutes, so you can add that to your report.
Okay. Ravi, our first speaker, Ravi, your time was 15 minutes and 31 seconds. And for mine was, you said 4 minutes, Raghu?
Right.
Excellent. All right. And for table topics, Mary, yours was 1 minute, 25 seconds. Okay, now is it Jones or, okay, am I saying it right? Jones. Jones, yeah. Your time was 1 minute, 55 seconds. Lydia, 1 minute and 14 seconds. And now for evaluations, Pamela, 3 minutes and 52 seconds. And Mary, I think I stopped at 5 minutes, but that was great. Who cares about time? It's all right. I gotta give an evaluation.
Somebody told me, as a distinguished Toastmaster, the DTM stands for don't tie me. And then both our evaluators are already DTMs. Don't tie me. But then it's all about giving feedback, the importance of it. But then learning about time importance is also good, because do you like your boss making you sit for longer hours in your meeting? The meeting that was supposed to end in 15 minutes, if it extends for another 15 or another 30 minutes, you start hating. Or rather, somebody who starts talking and then they keep on extending, keep on going for minutes, sometimes hours, and then you start hating because they don't respect your time. The timer, the role, not only helps us here in Toastmaster, it also helps in our real life, where we can start and end in time, anything that you're speaking. This discipline has always helped me in my professional life, where I am able to not only end in time, but the lesser the time that I use, my emphasis will be more on the language improvement. For example, if you're asked to speak about all your life in 4 to 6 minutes, you will start looking for the words, looking for the language that can put everything in just those 400 to 600 words. That is where you're improving your language too. While talking about language, let me invite the R-counter for today, Toastmaster Vamshi, to give the R-counter report today.
Yeah, thank you, Raghu. I observed that like Speaker Ravi has one short pause, and coming to Raghu, one short pause. Interviewer Ashvin, I observed that one or two short pauses. Interview Saishri has one short pause, and table topic master Catherine, there are long pause, one long pause and one short pause. Mary Thomas, I didn't hear her voice, but I observed that one, two short pauses. Jones table topics, one short pause and one hum. And Lydia, long and short pauses, couple of long and short pauses. Evaluator Pamela, for speaker Ravi, evaluation, one short pause and evaluation Mary for Saishri interview. One short pause. Yeah, this is the overall report. Account.
Thank you
Over
very
to you.
much, Toastmaster Vamshi. Now, this is the report that helps you to remove those crutch words from your speeches or your whatever you are speaking and however you are speaking. This helps you to clean your speeches, just like your washing machine. So where you wash your dirt, you're washing your all crutch words from your speeches. Before I end for today, one thing I want to tell you, everything and anything is a speech. The email that you write, the conversation that you have with your friend, the interview that you are attending, or the, the story that you're narrating to your children or anybody else. Even at your workplace, how does this communication skill help you? For example, you are trying to interview someone. For example, you're trying to give feedback to someone. As a leader, you need to have active listening skills. I used to have a manager who used to call me for one-on-one, and then he used to spend time on his phone or something else. And I loathed him so much that after a few meetings, I stopped going for one-on-one with him. And I told him blatantly that I'm not interested to have one-on-one. This doesn't help, right? So once you develop active listening skills, people love people who listen to them. Trust me. You will, once you develop these skills, you are developing your leadership skills. Once you start writing effectively your emails, people get the message correctly and you get your things done. You don't have to go to and fro several times where people have to understand what you're trying to convey. It prepares you for those moments when you need to present something in your office. Maybe you have to go and talk to your client. That 1 to 2 minutes gap makes a lot of difference. Maybe multi-million contract, or maybe you just failed. That decision making is something that you can develop out of Toastmasters. With that note, I sign up for the day, an agenda meeting, and we'll have a conversation with our guests, their feedback,